Welcome back, everybody. It is September 24th of 2020, and this is going to be episode 22 of What Is on My Desk. So here we are back for another one. I'm doing this a little bit earlier in the month. It's about a week or so, as I said, before the end of the month. I want to make sure I have enough time to get this edited and get this uploaded. Things are pretty busy in my other life, my real life, the life that doesn't revolve around aviation. It is pretty busy right now. I got a lot going on, so I don't know how much free time I'm going to have to actually get this done. So I am, like I said, doing it just a little bit earlier to ensure I have the time to get it done, to get it uploaded in time. Not a lot done on the models. I've been focusing on that Twin Otter commission build. I do have some information to share on that one with you, so stick around, you'll see that in a little bit. And other than that, I am going to go through the models just to ensure I do catch any minor work I may have done since the last update. I can't remember if I did anything or not, but we'll take a quick peek at those so you guys can see at least still what status they're in. And then I have a few new products and items to go over with you a little later. So let's get swung over to the desk, and we'll get set up over there, and we can get this video started. And as always, my name is Sean, and this, Sean's Aviation. And just before we get into the video, something I should have been doing a lot more up till now, and that is just asking you guys out there, if you enjoy what you're looking at, if you like what I'm doing, go down below, click on the like page, subscribe to my channel, and by all means, please click on that little notification bell. If that way you guys get alerted when I do get more new content up. I usually try to do the What's on My Desk monthly update beginning of the month. And I usually try to get a video or a series of videos released by the 15th, the middle of the month. So whether that's going to be a tips and tricks video, or an aviation history video, or my time-lapse videos of the previous model builds that I've got done, or an air show video, or some of my new product review videos I'll be doing. So I'm going to try to get something posted by the middle of the month. So please, if you're enjoying this, subscribe, like, and click that notification bell. Let's move on to the video. Okay, so even though air shows have been basically done for the year, I did end up going down to London, but there was no statics, which means there's no chance for swag. I have lucked out in a few cases. So first of all, there were a number of Canadian pilots wandering around the crowd at London who had the US demo team stickers. And while I already had the F-22 sticker, the A-10 sticker, all that kind of stuff, I was able to get the New Hill Air Force Base, the Utah-based F-35 demo team. I don't know if I got the stickers for the demo team when it was based at Luke, but I definitely now have... if I didn't have a sticker before, I now have an F-35 demo sticker, and if I did have the Luke sticker, I now have the Utah sticker. So that was a cool addition that those guys were walking around and giving away some of that stuff, because they didn't have the statics, they didn't have the ability to get those. So I have to add that to my collection of stickers and patches I have put away. And I did manage to get a few coins. So I'll start off with... I'd probably say the least cool one, and that's this guy here, and this is from 433 Squadron, RCAF 433 Squadron, based in Bagotville, the Porcupine Squadron, and it's a really neat one. It's almost like enameled paint, not always carved. So I contacted these guys over Facebook. They have a store on their Facebook Messenger. If anybody is looking to get, I'm not going to post the link, but if anybody's interested in getting in contact with 433 Squadron to get some swag, message me down below, and I can get in contact with you to give you their contact info. So they basically have an online store on Facebook Messenger. So I contacted them for a coin. They sent this to me. I think it was $20 with shipping to my house, which was pretty impressive. I was pretty happy with that. So that's the 433 Squadron based out of Bagotville. I do have a soft spot for 433 Squadron simply because of their demo bird from 2003. I got to see it fly by at ultra low level over Bagotville while I was there with cadets. and I got to get up close personal with the jet in the hangar while we're on a tour. So they made a good impression on me. Always had a soft spot for 433 Squadron. So I've done up the demo bird. I've got a nice wired patch, and now I have the coin to go with it. So that's a nice addition. And then last year, 2019, we had the North American tour of the Royal Air Force's Red Arrows. And the Red Arrows, the RAF has an interesting rule where the squadrons aren't allowed to sell swag. All of that has to go to the RAF Benevolent Fund. So the units themselves aren't allowed to sell stuff, but they're allowed to, the Benevolent Fund will sell stuff to stores who can then sell it, but the units aren't allowed to make money on stuff. So they were giving away a few things, some little knickknacks and stuff, and that's where I got, like, I think I may have shown this last year, things like this little, this little foam airplane that they were giving away, little things like this. They had a couple of these things that they were giving away, and I was able to snag a bunch of stuff since I was on the inside of the show. There were some posters and some paper airplanes and stuff like that. But there was a coin that was made for the North American tour. I'd seen it around, and on a whim one day I just Googled it and said, North American tour coin, and I found one. There was a store, the Vulcan to the Sky Trust, the guys who flew the Vulcan over in England. It's since been retired. I think it's XV555XH, XH558 was the Vulcan that they flew. It's since been grounded for mechanical reasons and safety reasons, but they had a couple of coins in stock. I think they had 4 or 5 left, which I bought. So shipped over from England. They only made 500 of the coins. So that's the coin there. So the North American Tour 2019. Obviously, you can see the 3 flags, everything else. It's a nice coin. I mean, that's all beautifully enameled. And then on the back side, it's got the RAF information, the crest for the unit, and all the information. And the kicker for that is if you zoom in to the bottom of the coin, I probably went in too close here. I don't know if you'll be able to make that out. Right there, 261 of 500. So only 500 of these coins were ever made. So you have to think in the entire world, there's only 500 of these. So the fact that I was able to find one, basically a year after the North American tour, still available online, was pretty cool. So this is what I snagged this while I was on their site. They had another package, coin, that was for sale, and that is the Vulcan coin. Spirit of Great Britain, Vulcan B2 XH558. So there you have the outline of the Vulcan over top of the Union Jack. On the back side is the squadron crest, the squadron logo, I should say, for the squadron that so you got the 2 camo colors with the head, the wolf's head, that would have been painted on the tail of the bird. So that was on sale and a clearance, so I snagged this. It came with a patch as well. I wasn't really expecting the patch. I didn't realize the patch was included until I got it, but I did get a patch as well. So this and this were a package deal, and it was a good price, so I snagged it while I could. So yeah, those are the 3 new coins I have added to my collection. I do have some more. When they show up, I'll talk about what else I got. I don't know if I'll get them in time for this video. So here we are, a quick update on some coins I got. I was at Airshow 2020, Airshow London 2020 SkyDrive about I guess a week and a half ago now, and because of the nature of how they did the airshow, there were no statics, which also meant that there was no chance of actually getting any coins. So in a bit of a roundabout way, I contacted really the only team, 2 teams that I do not have any coins for. One of them was the A-10 demo team, which they never actually got back to me. I do have the 1 coin from last year's airshow, the A-10 coin. I'm not entirely sure if this is the demo team or just the squadron unit one, but I did get this. But I was trying to contact them to see if they had a demo coin that they would be able to mail to me or leave at the FBO for pickup in London. Never heard back from them. The other one I contacted was the C-17 demo, the West Coast C-17 demo. As I had never seen them before, I contacted it again to see if they had any like stickers or coins that they could then, for example, drop off at the FBO or make arrangements to have been left for me, and I'd be able to, or just mail them to me, and I could pick them up just in order to continue adding to those collection of what I've seen. They actually got back to me saying, first of all, they did not have any coins. But also, whoever it was who contacted me, I don't know who it was or what position he held within the demo team or the squadron itself. I'm assuming he was probably the squadron's snacko, but I'm not entirely sure. Anyways, he let me know that a buddy of his started up a website, basically an online store for swag, and he called it squadronswagstop.com. I might have got that wrong. I'll put it up on the link. I'll actually show you here what the site looks like. So the website will be, it's down in the description as well. Head down the bottom. You'll see a link to it there. The site itself is actually pretty interesting. It's basically just an online clearinghouse store for swag. So he goes to the different units, he arranges them, they send him stuff, he puts it in inventory, he puts it on the store, and he sells it. It apparently just started, like it's only a couple of months old, and they have very small inventory right now, but as he sells stuff and people see that he has movement, more and more units are going to start supplying stuff to the store. So it's a great idea. So if anybody out there collects patches or stickers or coins or any of that kind of stuff, check this site out. I am not affiliated with it in any way, but it is a great way to access the store squadron stuff that you want. And as these sell more, they're going to add more. So if you're interested in anything on there, take it. There's the ton of units included now. Like I said, there's patches, there's stickers, there's coins, there's t-shirts, there's hats, there's sunglasses, there's lanyards, there's all kinds of stuff, and there's beer koozies. There's all kinds of stuff on there from different units. So check it out if you're interested in collecting any of this type of stuff. Support this guy, get it going, allow him to include more and more units, because the more people who buy, the more stuff they get, the better the selection for all of us. So again, I am not affiliated with this in any way. I don't get any free stuff. I don't get discounts. I don't get nothing for free, but it's a great resource and I love it. So please support them. So I did order 3 coins through them. 2 are actual, one is a unit that I've seen before. So the first one I'll show you is the unit I've seen already. These guys were down at London last year, but weren't selling anything. So this is the Arizona Air National Guard F-16s that are based out of Tucson, Arizona, out of David Monthan Air Force Base. So it's the 195th Fighter Squadron, the Warhawks, and it's got the beautiful Arizona sunburst. Oh, I am just out of focus here. So it's got the beautiful Arizona sunburst in the back on the state flag. 162nd Fighter Wing, Tucson, Arizona, Air National Guard. And like I said, on the back, it's got the Hawk with the 195th Fighter Squadron Warhawk. So these are the guys who are actually at London last year with their F-16s, but as I said, they were not selling stuff. So I was pretty happy to get that. So the other coin I got is the 309th Fighter Squadron. It's another F-16 unit. This one based out of Luke Air Force Base in Arizona. So I don't know the history of the 309th Fighter Squadron, but they had it, and I don't have a coin of this, so I figured it was worth adding to the collection. It's just an interesting coin because the back and the front, I guess, so I think it's not quite, yeah, it's like it's not quite centered. If you center that and flip it, the plane's off center. Like, they're not symmetrical, which is weird. But anyways, it's always good to add another coin. They're relatively inexpensive. These are like I think $10 a coin, which, I mean, considering what you usually spend at air shows, that's a pretty good price for coins. So it's nice to start collecting and adding some more of these to the collection. The other one that I got, a little bit different. It's not actually, as far as I can tell, it's not actually a specific unit. It's just an overall coin, and that's this F-35 coin. So on the back side, it's kind of the outline of the plane with the flag, and it says F-35 in the middle. I mean, that in itself is interesting, but the other side is what's cool. It's like a profile view of the jet with all the panels and everything on. And I don't know who is this, if it's an F-35 squadron that did it, or if it's a promotional thing from Lockheed or the Air Force in general, but kind of cool to have that. It's nice to have that sitting on the shelf, so I'll add that to all the other stuff I have. So yeah, I mean, again, I don't know what unit it belongs to, but those are the three. Those are the three new coins that I purchased through that website. As I said before there, squadronswagstop.com. Everything, the details are down below. Again, no like promotion, no paid anything, no benefits, no nothing. I'm just a big fan of this of the store, the ability to go on. I've been checking it about once a week just to go on and see what they have in terms of new product, new coins, because they're adding stuff all the time. There was also a after I purchased a bit of a how did we work kind of deal, and they had a survey, and one of the options I said was basically search by, like, being able to put in search terms, search by product type, t-shirt, coin, patch, sticker, search by type, and it'll be a lot easier to find what you want. So keep an eye on that. If anybody else out there is interested in this kind of stuff, as I said, down below in the description, take a look. Let's move on. We'll take a look at the models. So as I said at the beginning, I did not get much done on the models. I don't think I actually got anything done on the models since the last one, maybe some minor stuff. So I'll start with the Zero as usual. So again, interior has been painted the metallic blue color. I haven't done any detail painting. And then the main thing, again, it's just the interior blue color and the black, the cowling on the wheel. So I don't think I did anything on the Zero since last month. The P39, again, I don't think I've done everything. I don't think I did anything. I got the interiors painted green. I got to do all the detail painting on that. The landing gear was painted. I think the only thing I may have got done since last month, again, I can't remember when I did it, but I did get the aluminum painted. So the wheels have the aluminum centers painted. So I masked off. It included masks out of the box. It turned out the masks that were provided, you were supposed to paint the silver first and then mask off the center and then paint the black. But I painted the black first, so I actually had to kind of go around and do it backwards. You can see the masks are provided here. I actually cut around the circles and I used the square, put that around, and then so I painted the black, used the masking material around it as like a positive mask or a negative mask, however you want to think of it, and then I painted the aluminium centers using the kit provided mask. Just had to do a minor amount of surgery and modifications to make it work, but as I said, not much done, focusing on that Twin Otter. The F-15, I think the only thing I managed to get done since last time was painting the landing gears and whatnot white. So all the landing gear legs are white, the insides of the nose gear bay, the main gear bays, the main fuselage inside, the gear bays have been painted white. And then the wheels, I masked off the wheels and painted. There's always a little bit of overspray. I gotta touch that up a little bit here. So I gotta touch up some of the black. I'll do that by hand, but the white has been painted. These are going to get some detail picked out as well. It was steel. I'll take care of that later. But these I did by hand. And then the nose wheel, I can't remember if I used a punch or if I masked and cut. I can't remember now, but probably used a punch if it fit. But I always like using the punches. So I got all of the white bits painted, like I said, wheel wells, landing gears, wheels, landing gear bays. All of that is done. And then with the C-45, again, not a whole lot done. I think the only thing I managed to do was paint the aluminum on the inside of the cowlings. So when you put the wings together, the back half is where the wheel wells will be. Although you're not going to see much inside the wheel wells because I'm building it with the wheels up. So there won't be much detail inside of that. But then inside the engine cowlings is aluminum. So I painted it, or masked off and painted so that where the bulkheads fit in place with the engine. Everything forward of that is silver. Everything behind that is the interior green. So it's all balanced the way it's supposed to be, and it's going to look good when I get it finished up. So I got that done, and then all of the little things I had to do here. Some of the engine mount pieces. I got to be really careful with these. I broke a bunch when I was taking them off of the frets. But all of the engine mounts have been painted aluminum. The landing gears, the engines themselves have been painted aluminum. The wheels, same thing as with the F-15. I just masked the centers and painted the centers out. Propellers, I masked off the props and I painted the hubs silver, so they're all painted up, or aluminum I should say, ready to go. And then the bulkheads, where the engines mount to, have also been painted aluminum. So they'll be able to have the back behind me. I mean, you probably won't see these, but it's always better to paint it. The only thing I have left to do, which I have to do by hand, is on the rear of the landing gear. There's some of these frames in here that we painted aluminum, but I'll do that by hand after the fact over top of the green. So that's all I managed to do on the model. Like I said, I've been focusing on the Twin Otter. So on the Twin Otter, I was talking with the client. They said they do not have any issue with me talking about this on various social media. So things like, well, for example, this YouTube video. I'm allowed to talk about what the model will be built as. So as I pointed out last time, it's an RC Twin Otter. It's going to be painted up as a Sander Geophysics aircraft registration CG-SGF, Charlie Golf Sierra Golf Foxtrot. So it's an aerial survey Twin Otter. So I'll get a picture up here so you can see how it's supposed to look in real life with some of the modifications that are done to it. So I am doing a lot of those extra modifications to it. So start off, we got those wing pods. So I've actually built the wing pods out of, it's just a wooden, you can still see some of it, it needs some more paint, but there's a wooden core, and then I filled in with some more wood to give it a round shape. And then it's basically closed cell pink foam insulation. And then I sanded it on a belt sander to give it its shape. I just got to give it some final coats of white. It needs a little bit more work. But a little bit more putty, some sanding, some painting. These will be one of the last things I added. So yeah, as I was saying, there's a wooden core, foam fill in, and then I sanded it and give it its shape. And then it needs a little bit more work, some more putty, some more sanding, some more painting. The primer, I had styrofoam primer. It actually melted this styrofoam. It worked well on the aircraft foam, but for whatever reason it melted this one. So put some irregularities into the surface that I have to keep finishing off. So these will be going outside on the wingtips. The tail stinger, I'm going to use just some plastic tubing to finish it off. But that shouldn't be too hard. And then the cowlings, I just went out today and picked up all the hardware. So the propeller is supposed to be screwed onto the electric motor, and then the spinner, which mounts over top of it, screws into the electric motor as well. But I had to pull all the motors out in order to save weight. I didn't want all those electronics in there. They're actually worth quite a bit of money, and I don't want them sitting inside the plane on a static display. So I pulled those out, and I went ahead out to Home Depot today, and I picked up some, there's just a rough coat of blue. Don't mind the color, it's not perfect, I gotta clean it up. But anyways, I picked up some hardware. So I got a number 8 brass screw, which goes to the middle of the prop, and on the back there's a large number of washers and some step down washers to get it small enough, and then a nut holding it all together. And that's basically what holds the prop to the cowling. And then the spinner I will just glue onto the front of it after it's all done. So props were also modified slightly. These had white and black stripes, and then the tips were a bit of like a swooped tip, or I sanded these down closer to the original shape. And yeah, I'm going to basically keep them painted all black, and I'm going to put the little tips on them, and I'll figure something out for the prop, the manufacturer's logo. But yeah, so all of these need another gentle sanding, and then a final coat of blue. And then I got to seal it all, and then it's going to be mounted to the, and I want to paint these like a steel exhaust color. And then all of this is going to get mounted to the aircraft after I install the props, and then whatever seams I have here, I'll do a little bit of cleanup, some touch-up paint, and then it'll be done. So that's the props and cowlings. The wings I don't have a lot done on the wings. It's basically just white paint, which I have the final coat of white on them. It is a huge model, so I can't really fit it all in. So I got a final coat of white paint on it. It has been sealed and glossed, so that I can go ahead and do the blue that goes along the cowling. So the entire nacelle, as well as a strip of wing on either side of the nacelle, gets painted blue. So I got to paint all that up, which I'll be doing sooner rather than later. And then you can see how the pods will be mounted outboard of the wings. I got to build all that structure in place. What I've been focusing on has been the fuselage. So what you saw last time was a straight white fuselage, and now you can see I've got a red tail, and I've got the fuselage stripes painted in place. I've also got the anti-glare panel and all the windows. All the windows are custom-made decals. I used the stickers that came out of the kit, scanned them into the computer, used Photoshop to make up these window decals, and then I made sure there was a proper number of windows. The kit did not have enough to make a realistic one, whereas I have enough windows to make to basically match the real plane the way it would look. And you'll also see I left the gaps in the paint striping where there's the emergency door lines that paint around the door, so I got to put those into place. I got to clean up. I had a little bit of a mistake back here, so you can see how I have to clean this up still. But yeah, there's a little bit so I got to touch up that. I got to paint the blue stripe on the leading edge of the tail, and then this is finished, and I have all of my custom decal work, which will be going on to here to give it all of its so the registration, for example, goes back here with the little logo. So all the little things to finish this off, which I'll do after I finish all the painting. Like I said, I just got to do the leading edge of the tail. I got to fix this up, and then this whole thing is going to get another gloss coat. And then it's some little touch-ups around here where I had some little paint chips, and then it's final decals, and then the fuselage is done. So I'm coming right along. I'm hoping to get this done soon, but this has been where all of my focus has been building this model. So at this point, I still haven't got full confirmation about whether I can discuss where it's eventually going to end up, the final client who it's being built for. I'm not really at liberty at this point to say, but at least you're able to see the progress I'm making on the models and see where I'm going with them. So that is the progress up till now. So from here, we're going to take a look at some kits I got. I was completely lucked out on some new kits, so let's take a look at those. Okay, here we are, everybody, at the desk. We'll take a look at kits I got. Pretty interesting, basically a pretty interesting month. There was a for sale posting on ARC. Looked at the list. It was in London, Ontario, and I was heading down to London for the air show. Just actually happened to get back today. Actually, I'm filming this on, what day is today? The 13th of September. So I'm just getting this this review of these kits out of the way now, and then I'll deal with everything, put them away, and then this is ready to go for the October update. So I just got back from London this morning, and so I knew I was going down to London. I saw this list for sale, looked through it. There was one kit that was one of those kits, I had been wanting to get just to add to the collection. Price was right, so I offered on that. Deal was made. A couple of days later, I decided just to pop back into his posting, see if anything changed, if any kits had been added, or if prices were lowered. Can never turn down a good deal. And as I read through the entire post, at the very bottom, he was looking to trade. And I had the model that he wanted to trade. So I quickly messaged him back, let him know that I do have the model that he wanted to trade. I had nothing invested in it. It didn't cost me anything. I wasn't necessarily looking to build that particular kit. So I basically offered him the kit, and I gave him a list of kits that I would like in return. And there was, I think, 5 kits in total that I offered him for the trade. And he came back with a yes. So while I was down in London, we met up, had a great conversation for about, I guess, almost 45 minutes. We sat out in the parking lot talking about models and the industry and everything. And I walked away with 5 kits. It's basically, like I said, I'm in it for nothing. The model was given to me that I traded. So I have 5 new kits that didn't cost me a penny. So I'll quickly go through those. I'll start with the one that I actually wanted, and that is an AH-1 Cobra. I always wanted to add an AH-1 Cobra to my collection. Never really saw one at the right price. And for example, the new Kitty Hawk kits are pretty pricey, and it's a new version, the AH-1 Whiskey and the AH-1Z, the Zulu. And it's cool, but I'm not going to spend the money on something like that I don't really need. So this initially was only asking $10 for this, and because I was meeting him in London, there was no shipping costs. So for $10, this kind of scratches that itch of having an AH-1 in the collection, and it does fit in with my Vietnam aircraft. So right now I've got, let's see, it's a MiG-20, it's a Polish MiG-21, but I got the MiG-21, the F-100, I got an A-1H, I got an A-1E, I got an OV-1 Mohawk, and I have an F-105 Thunder Chief, and then I've got another F-105 in the stash that I gotta build, and I guess that's it. So yeah, I do have quite a bit of aircraft that live in that Vietnam era. So if I wanted to add a Huey, I've got a bunch of helicopters as well. So I have a UH-1 H, I've got a UH-1N. I've got a Bell 412 done up as a CH-146. I've got a Bell 206. It's actually my wife's, not 206. 222. It's my wife's Bell 222, but it's on the shelf with my kits. I got a Sea King, and I've got a CH-53. Those are what's built in the shelf over there in the back. I've also got a CH-46 that I'm doing up as a Labrador. I've got a CH-21, the Flying Banana, that I'll be doing up as the Canadian version of that. So I've got a bunch of different so this kind of fits into the helicopter theme as well as into the Vietnam theme. So it's a good addition. It is the older Fujimi kit. For its age, it is, you know, pretty detailed for its age. Compared to what you see today, though, it definitely shows its age. But for what it cost me $10, and in reality didn't cost me a penny, I'm pretty happy. As I said, you have to remember that these next 5 kits, technically, if you do the balance sheet, these were free. So consider all of these as free kits in my stash. So, as I said, it is the Fujimi AH-1J Sea Cobra. So it's the twin engine. It's the first version of the twin engined Cobras. So it includes 2 paint schemes. I've never built a Fujimi kit before, so the instructions are a slightly new layout to me. So it starts with sort of the overall painting guide of the finished model, and they're both done in basically an olive drab but basically all olive drab with some detailing, some flat black details and whatnot, and the rotor blades and all that kind of stuff. So it's got some walkways and stuff on it as well. But then it goes into the construction, so you got cockpit, turret, all that kind of stuff. It gives you markings for 2 different aircraft, both in the Marines, one from HMA 369 and one from HMA 163. Construction is pretty quick. It only takes really 7 steps to get to a completed kit. So there's not a ton of detail in it, but it works, and it's a nice kit for my edition. The bags, I mean, they haven't even been opened, so I'm not terribly worried about anything missing. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, you can see it's got some nice exhaust. The back plate with the exhaust look nice. The rotors, you know, there's a bit of nice detail in there. The rocket pods have the open ends the way they're supposed to be. You know, there's enough detail that when it's all finished, it's going to look good, but it's not terribly detailed. I mean, in the cockpit, the seats are basically molded into the cockpit, and you're just installing some armor and some the sticks and whatnot. But the canopy it's not a lot you can see into that canopy, so if I put the pilots in there, you're really not going to notice much at all, and it'll just sort of disappear into the nothingness of the cockpit. So I'm not too worried about having a super detailed cockpit. I'll see what it looks like when it's painted up. I may end up just doing some tape, Tamiya tape seat belts, just to you know, dirty it up a little bit, make it look a little busy. We'll see what it looks like. I'll do some research online for what the cockpit looked like in the seat colors, and I might do a little tiny bit of detailing on there just to make it pop, but I'm not going to go too crazy with it. The decals have, you know, aged. They've yellowed a little bit, and you're starting to see a bit of the carrier film, but if they go down well, I'll probably end up using them. They do make aftermarket decals for some of these early Cobras, so I probably can find them if I absolutely had to, but I'm going to try to attempt to use the kit decals first, just to save some money on the build. I guess I should have said at the very beginning, I'm not going to go into too much detail with this. I will do a full review on these at a later date. This month I have 2 reviews. One just dropped, the P39 in September. Sorry, the P39, another one, I can't remember what the next one is. And then October. So next week will be one, and then the week after, the 15th, is going to be the P51 Part 2, and then the 3rd week will be another model review. So I think what I'm going to do is, as I go into the future, to fill in the weeks, I'm going to do a combination of some of the airshow stuff, some of the model stuff, and I'd like to do one model review and one of my current built models. Pick a model that I've built, or maybe even 2, and do a quick talk, so that by the end of this, you guys will have seen every kit that I've built. So I'll pick a kit or two and I'll go through them every week and try to build up a bit of a log there, so you guys can get to see everything I've built. So I will do a full review on these later. If there is any kits, if you've been on the website and you see the list of kits that I've built, or you've seen the list of kits that I haven't started yet, and you want to see something specific, let me know down in the comments down below. Let me know what you'd like to see, and I'll try to get that up to the top of the list when I go through the model kits. I don't have a preference, so I'm just going to kind of go through my shelf. But if there's anything you want to see, let me know. I'll do my best to fit it in. So next up, I'll start with two of the older kits I have. This is the older, the Monogram the F-101 Voodoo. It also includes the Canadian markings. This is from the 1985 boxing, so it is a little bit of the older one. It's probably one of the earliest boxings they did. I haven't looked online recently to see the order, but it's probably one of the earlier ones. And it comes standard monogram. The instructions are very similar to what you'd expect in this age of monogram. One big sheet with all the little tiny boxes, and you got to work your way through. And I mean, it's decent detail. It's the same kit you would get today if you went out and bought a monogram. The later boxings, the plastic didn't change, just the decal options changed. So again, this is the B model. It's got the two-seater, not the single seat. So as I said, it's the pretty standard. The previous owner was nice enough to put the clear parts in a baggie, which is always nice as it protects the model. And it's this really flimsy plastic that Monogram did. But I mean, it's the old kit, all the raised panel lines. There's nothing terribly special with this other than it's a twin seat Voodoo that didn't cost me anything to buy. So everything's in its original sprue bag. Nothing's been opened. So, you know, there's that. But anyways, as I said, I'll be going through some more detail a little later. There are the two decal options that are included. There's the U.S. Air Force version, which is from Texas. I don't know if it's an Air National Guard. I don't think it is. I think it's just a standard U.S. Air Force scheme. It looks like it's got the William Tell, the 1978 William Tell competition aircraft. William Tell is an annual, I believe it's a gunnery competition that is held. So they send the units down and each country sends a unit down to compete on that. So this is the Texas unit. Again, I don't know the exact story behind it. There's no write-ups about the markings here. So U.S. Air Force from Texas, and then there's the Canadian option. It's 101027 from 409 Squadron. So it gives you the decals for that. Now again, it's an older set of decals. They have aged a little bit. The carrier film still looks nice. The white hasn't turned too yellow. So I have a feeling that these will probably be okay. Well, no, that being said, the carrier film is completely off of the decals. So yeah, this is basically, this entire decal sheet is a complete misprint. So yeah, these decals wouldn't work at all. That is brutally bad. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, see if you guys can actually see this. This is the first time I've looked at the kit. So if you look, there's the shiny squares, and that's the carrier film. So they put that shiny bit down. I'll get the reflection so you can see it here. So they put the shiny bit down, and that's the part that comes off of the backing paper when it's in water. And the ink is supposed to be printed onto that carrier film, and then it comes off onto the model. But if you look really closely, you see some of that? Let's see if I can come down here. Look at that. See the word Canada? The top of it is off. I noticed it specifically with that. You see, I'm not going to be able to pick it up. With where it's the number 20, the 27 number, the top of the number is completely off. Like again, look at the word Canada. Look how far off the printing is down here. Look how much of that N comes across the top. Look at the flags. Look at the roundels. Look how much of the roundel. Down here, there's this massive gap. At the top, it's way off the top. So all of the top of all the decals will be cut off. So these decals are effectively useless. I'll probably keep them just for the historical aspect of it, but you couldn't use these on any kits. They're just dead. Completely misprinted. I should contact Monogram and complain. You know, 36 years later. Actually, what did I say? What year was this? Was it 1980? 1985. So it's a 35-year-old kit. So yeah, I should definitely send them an email and complain. Anyways, so yeah, the decals are completely useless. But luckily, I do have aftermarket decals I plan on using for this kit. As I said, I'll be doing it more detailed. I actually have another one of these Monogram Voodoos. It's the later boxing with a slightly different decal. So whenever I end up doing a detailed review, I'll probably do both at the same time and then talk about the difference in the decals between the two. But that is the 1985 boxing of the F-101 Voodoo. So next up, we have another older Monogram boxing. And this is a kit that I've always wanted to do. It's been on my list for a while to pick up. It's the Monogram F-106 Delta Dart. I've always had a thing for these early delta-winged fighters, these early interceptors. So this is a 1983 copyright. So this kit's older than I am, which, I mean, I guess it's not surprising in model kits. But again, same basic instruction sheet where it comes in a giant piece of paper, and you have to go through and read each little box. So you've got the instructions here. Starts off with cockpits and then fuselage assembly and then wheel wells, and you move on to landing gears and assembling the fuselage and everything, and wings and drop tanks and canopies. You do get two different types of canopy. I guess there's an early and a later one with the different in the canopy framings windows. I'll have to make a decision on that. And then there's only one set of decals included. Again, it doesn't give me any information on, here we go, your model depicts an F-106, the 87th Fighter Interceptor Squadron, stationed at Sawyer Air Force Base in Michigan. So the decals, let's see if I can find the Monogram decals. Yeah, so they're, again, a little dated. These ones are actually printed a little bit better registered than the other ones. That must have just been a one-off on that other kit. But anyways, so you do get the all of the markings for the tail and the band around the fuselage and all that other stuff that goes with it. Everything looks, some good stencils. Everything looks like that. It's got the bicentennial logo from the 1976 bicentennial celebrations in the United States. So you've got all those little features. And then included in the kit, well, I guess I'll show you that after. So those are the decals and the instructions. The plastic themselves, again, canopy is in the plastic baggie. He also included a resin ejection seat, which is a nice touch. This model has been opened, but again, I mean, it looks like everything's there. So you get all the Falcon missiles for inside the weapons bays, and the plane itself, the weapons bay, you can see there, the nice detail to add all that. It'd be kind of cool when you have it opened up and see everything in there. So I do plan on opening it up. Cockpit open, weapons bays opened, do as much. Again, with the older Monogram kit, it is raised panel lines, but I mean, you do the proper weathering, it's not going to make a difference anyways. And these jets tended to be kept relatively clean when in service. They had almost a semi-gloss paint, and you know, the Air Force had lots of time and money and people, so the planes were kept relatively clean. So I'm not too worried about weathering. Forgot to put the Voodoo cockpit back. So in addition to the kit decals, there was also an aftermarket set of decals that was provided. And it is a set of Microscale decals. I don't have a date for them. I'm assuming they're pretty old. Just because the instructions are effectively this. It looks like it's an old, like, what, you know, it looks like a stamp almost the way it's printed. It doesn't look like it was printed on a printer. It looks like it was, you know, a stamp or a lithograph or something like that, like a roller, you know, an actual print done on a cardstock on two, you know, it looks like an 8.5 by 11 sheet. They got cut down the middle, so it looks like it was done on like a roller printer or something, you know. I wish I actually had a copyright on these, but there's nothing written everywhere. I have to look up online and figure out a copyright. But anyways, it actually includes the same unit as the Monogram decals, which is interesting. The markings look a little different, but it's clearly the same design, the same tail. And again, the wing fuel tanks are different than what's included. But you get the same crest for there, and there's these different nose arts that go on it. This decal sheet includes the William Tell competition, the same as the Voodoo. I don't know what year it was, but it includes markings for the 1972 William Tell meet. So it has nose art to be put on, so you can pick those if you'd like, which I might do. Yeah, anyways. It gives me some options if I choose to do them. These decals are in very good shape, considering they're probably from late 80s, early 90s, if I had to take a guess. But yeah, anyways, so that was included. So like I said, nice touch that I got that. So that's the F-106 from Monogram. Very excited to have that added to the stash, because again, I kind of like the look of those early Delta Wing interceptors. And so the next kit, coming into more modern kit, I've got the Hasegawa F-16CJ. I don't have a, let's see if there is a copyright anywhere on here. Yeah, I don't know what these ones. There's a printed in Japan in 2004, so this is almost effectively a new kit. Typical Hasegawa quality though. You've got beautifully engraved panel lines. There's a bunch of different options on here for different versions. You've got different intakes and exhaust cones and stuff depending on what version you want to do. So you get a lot of extra parts as you don't necessarily use all of the parts when you build it. You can actually see here there's the extra intake. So there's no extra. Yeah, there is. There's an extra exhaust. There's extra intake parts, so you can do a different versioned jet if you so chose, an earlier version or a later version. So the instructions, again, typical Hasegawa, a lot going on here. They do have the option to put the pilot in, so the construction goes a little differently in the cockpit whether you put the pilot in or out. But lots of detail, great wheel bays. You can do the speed bakes open or closed. There's a selections of weapons inside included as well, which you don't normally get with a Hasegawa kit, but it is nice that it's included. So lots of different options in there. Includes a boarding ladder as well. If you choose to put it with the canopy up, you can do that. So a lot of cool options in there. The kit itself includes two sets of markings. One for the 35th Fighter Wing, Pacific Air Force, Misawa, Japan, which is a Wild Weasel unit. So you get the WW for the tail, which is a anti-radar unit. And then the bottom one is from Shaw Air Force Base in South Carolina, which is just a standard line, but it's actually a Wing King scheme that they have for that. So that's the Wing King scheme, and then you get some markings for the drop tanks and the decal sheet. The decal sheet's nicely printed. Not too much to complain about there. Typical Hasegawa quality. I mean, I can't really go into it. And then the canopy is included on the other side. It does have that annoying seam right down the middle of the canopy, which if you're a purist, you'll want to sand that down. I'm not a big fan of sanding clear parts. I probably won't do it. But the purists do that just to be make it look as realistic as possible. You've also got, as you can see here, the different bands for the missiles, the colored bands. And then again, lucky enough to be included in this was a set of aftermarket decals, which is Afterburners decals, 48-004, which is Wing Kings Part 1. So you've got Prince Sultan Air Base, Saudi Arabia of spring of 2003, which is actually the same unit as this one. I don't know if it's the same plane or not. 92 3920. I haven't even looked at that, whether it's the same unit in both. No, it's 80. Wait, hold on. No, it doesn't have an aircraft number on this one. This one does. Anyways, so this one has it's the same unit though, but probably a different airframe. But you've got the same unit, and then you've got Cannon Air Force Base and you've got Luke Air Force Base, the different units. So the Wing Kings is the Wing Commander's aircraft, and it includes markings from every unit. So the tail bands are multiple tail bands that get included. Stand by. Okay, as I was saying, So the Wing King, it's the Wing Commander's aircraft, so every unit that is in the squadron has a separate tail band, and for the Wing King aircraft, each tail band is shown. So one squadron would have had a blue and white checker, one would have a yellow, one would have a red, and one would have this tiger stripe band, the entire width of the tail. Because he's the Wing King, he has sections of each one. So you can see here how the aircraft went from 4 squadrons down to 3 squadrons at one point as one squadron got disbanded. And then the same thing happens down here, where if you look here on the side, you can see how there's a 4-color and a 3-color, which is when one unit got retired, they would take that unit out of off the band, and you would only have the one. And then the bottom one, so the top one is the Shaw Air Force Base, the middle one is Cannon, and the bottom one is Luke Air Force Base. And Luke Air Force Base has an interesting one. It has the base kind of logo across it instead of all the different squadrons, because there's 8 different units. See here, there's 8 different units that are associated with Shaw Air Force Base, because with Luke Air Force Base, Arizona, as it was the F-16 training unit. So there's tons of different units that were assigned there. Sorry, mind fart there. Anyway, so it has quite a few different units assigned to that aircraft. So I'm thinking I might do the Luke bird if I end up using this sheet, simply because the pylons on the wings have some markings on them, and then each afterburner pedal has a decal put on it, which I think is really cool. So I think I might do that one if I end up doing this one. I don't know yet. I'm also tempted to hold off and do this one up as a demo one, but we'll see. And then it also includes all the decals, all the stencils and everything for the whole airframe, which again is a nice touch that they included that many stencils. It's probably more than the kit, but I have to compare. And then the decal sheet themselves, so you can see it's quite involved, because you've got the main decal sheet with all the different tail bands that are included in the kit, and then you also have all of the different squadron badges, which are separate decals that you have to overlay the crests into the white part, so that the white has proper register, so you don't have so many colors all over the place. If you cut down the number of layers and separate the decals, it's easier to ensure that they're lined up properly. And you'll also see all of these little white cutouts, and that corresponds to the dry transfer, which I've never used before. Archer fine transfers. You get a much higher fidelity detail, and then those get transferred onto those over top of those setup, those little outlines. So, you know, it's interesting, and I've never used them before, so I'm very excited to see how they get turned out. So this includes all of the bands and the crests and the stencils at the bottom here, and then there's another sheet that includes all the black parts, all the tail markings, which is strictly just black ink, so they save some money on that. And then there is another high fidelity Let's Roll, the post 9/11 crest that goes on everything. So it's an interesting sheet. I've never used the Archer fine transfer, so it might be something someday. I'll try, but like I said, I don't know if I'm going to use this or do something different. I don't even know when I'm going to get around to building this kit, so time will tell, and we'll have to wait and see. But that's another one. And then finally, the last kit I got is a zoom out a little bit here, an F-18D twin seat Hornet. So I do have a few Hornets. I have one Hasegawa built as the 433 demo from 2003. I have another Hasegawa F-18C in the closet, which I'll be doing up as I believe I've got the NORAD demo team markings, and then I've got a kinetic, or however you pronounce that, kinetic F-18 in the Canada 150 scheme, but I don't have a twin seat. So I have the twin seat here, and it's probably going to be up in Canadian colors. I'm probably going to do it up as a line bird. I enjoy having, because of all the other aircraft I have all been demo birds. It might be interesting just to do one up as a line bird and show it kind of as a super dirty, super beat up, excuse me, line bird. So I'll probably do this one up as that. Again, time will tell. So it does include, this was empty, I'm not even sure what that was for. So there's the main fuselage with the twin seat opening. It does include a photo etch bit for some of the details, so some parts for the ladder. There's some parts for the inside of the wheel well, and then there's the mirrors as well as the HUD. The main kit itself, I mean, I have built the Hasegawa kit before, so there's nothing too crazy with it. It goes together okay. These rear fuselage pieces, the sides of the rear fuselage, they fit here above the wheel wells. The Hornet's a really odd shape when you're molding it in plastic, so it takes a lot of little pieces to put together. Those have always been a bit of trouble. The last one I built came out being a little finicky, but a bit of patience and it goes together well. And then here you've got drop tanks, pylons, exhaust cones, everything else. So cockpit on these are relatively well detailed. The cockpit tub is underneath here, and then you got some of the rear decking and the instrument panel. So they're relatively well detailed. You can see there's lots of detail inside those wheel wells. So it's a great kit. Probably, you know, on par. Either Hasegawa or Kinetic are the best kits out there for a Hornet right now. So it's one of the best ones that are out there. So it'd be really cool to do that up in everything dropped down on the ground, dirtied up. You know, possibly even putting in some munitions, or I'll have to look up some really cool training schemes, stuff like that. I have a kit somewhere. I think the F-16 kit actually includes a baggage pod, so I might throw that onto one of the F-18s at some point as well. Clear parts, again, you get that nasty seam right down the middle of the canopy. If you really want to sand that out, you can try. And then the decals here are for the unit, the Marine unit that this is done on for the Bengals, a VMFA 224. It's only got the one aircraft included as markings. The instructions, again, these are more of a booklet style. Hasegawa has some of these for the bigger kits. So I mean, construction is relatively straightforward. You do canopy, and then you move on to assembling the fuselage, wings and flaps, landing gears. The Canadians do have a reversed shock absorber on the main gear, which is a bit of a pain because no model includes that, but you just kind of have to live with it. And then you go on to main gear again, fiddly bits and cockpit, the canopy, and then you got drop tanks, and then pylons and stuff like that, and then the ladder if you so choose to do the ladder, and some of the antennas. The Canadians have a slightly different antenna fit, so I have to kind of play with that and make sure I get it right. The instructions are for a different version of the kit. It's the standard F-18D night attack, so it includes the painting guides and decal guides for 3 aircraft that aren't actually included because these instructions. So they made this kit, this night attack version, and then when they did this one-off Bengals decal version, they included the original instructions, and then all they did was add an addendum sheet that showed you the placement for the decals that are provided. So even though the instructions show those 3 kits, those decals aren't included. You only get the one set of decals from VMFA 224. So that's that. Nothing too special to Hasegawa. As I said, I will be going over and doing a more detailed review. I'll probably do again the single-seater and the twin-seater at the same time. So those are the 5 kits I got. As I said, effectively, I'm in it for nothing. So they're free kits. So I'm very happy getting all of those kits. Everything is always something I wanted. So I've got a twin-seat F-16 ended up as Polish. This is now a single-seat F-16. I'll do it as a US. I've got all the single-seat Hornets. Now I've got the twin-seat Hornet. I've got another Voodoo. So I have the option of, I've got options with the Voodoo, so different schemes. And then I've got an AH-1C Cobra, and I've got the F-106. So everything I got was all something that I, you know, would have liked to add to my collection to vary the collection, and I'm very glad I did manage the trade. So those are the new kits that I got.
Thank you for watching, guys, and as always, if you are interested in any of the content you see, you can access my website at www.seans-aviation.com. You can see all the latest pictures of aircraft and museums and the build logs of all of my current models and past models on that site. And if you're interested in any of this content, please click the subscribe button here on YouTube to follow more. Thank you very much, and see you guys next time.